Welcome to the Third Man Up podcast, your one-stop shop for the serious and not so serious side of Australian sports. Join the lads as they discuss what's going on in the world of sport and preview all of this weekend's action. Now, here are your hosts, AFL media superstar Peter Spida Everitt and the world-class amateur Brody Burrows.
Welcome back to another week of the Third Man Up podcast. I'm your co-host, Brody Burrows. With me is Peter Spida Everitt. How are we going, Spida?
Look, I don't worry about my weekend. I've been waiting to hear about your weekend all weekend because mine was pretty much boring. I went to Melbourne. Yeah, it was great to watch a young fella play footy. Went to the South Melbourne markets. If you know Melbourne, for those people, went and got some dim sims like everyone does. But please hit me up. How'd you go? What was it? The Beer and Barbecue Fest. There is not a better festival in the world.
No, there wasn't. And it might have stitched me up a little bit, I will say that. Went there. We were supposed to fly there on the Thursday. Plane got cancelled. Couldn't get there to the Friday. So woke up at 7 in the morning, or at about 5:30. Got on the plane at 7 in the morning. Got over to Adelaide. Did a few stuff in the afternoon and then went to the Beer and Barbecue Festival. 80 different breweries in there. Got to taste a little bit of everything, and I think I made my way through a fair few of them. Went out the back and tried some pretty good barbecue as well. Watched the Living End. They were bloody awesome.
Oh, yeah.
They wound back the clock a bit. Also might have detoured back via Hindley Street on the way back to the hotel. Might have got lost and, let's say, strolling in the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, love it. And then your plane got cancelled again over the weekend too.
Yeah. No, that's what it's like over here. So that was all right. Got to watch the Crows on the Saturday night, and the Crows and GWS, and that was a great game to watch. Fair few angry Crow supporters, but we'll get into that match a little later, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. What a cracking weekend of footy. How good is footy right here, right now? Like, it's just set up, like the finals race is going to be amazing as it is. And even what the AFL is talking about at the moment in making the finals, like the NBA with 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 play off in that, split
wild
round.
Card.
Yeah, the wild card entry. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so do I. I think there's nothing really to lose in that situation, and especially in that weekend off. But how'd your tips go? I got 4 out of 9. Not real happy.
Yeah, I got 4 out of 9 as well, but a different 4.
Yeah.
Which is, because, so many people said, the Bombers could be against Geelong, but no way, no, will GWS beat Adelaide at home. So Port Adelaide and Carlton, there were so many good tips, but it's just left the final 8 absolutely up and about. I love it. Like, you can't pick the 8 now. It's just so close, and every game means so much, which is just brilliant.
And there's so many 50-50 games to come, but we'll get into Thursday night's game, the last Thursday night game of the year. Not overly happy about that, but it was Sydney 78 defeating the Western Bulldogs 76. Battle of the lethal left boots, Bontempelli and Errol Goulden. This was a really good match.
Yeah, it was. It was great. And as you say, Thursday night footy, we love it. Just makes Friday flow so much easier. It's a shorter week when you got footy on the Thursday night. Disappointing it goes, but you're right. It was fantastic, and the Bulldogs really let themselves down at certain times of the game. I thought, what, they should have been. They actually should have been 5 goals up without Sydney even scoring, and then really made it hard. But for then Sydney, Sydney's always going to peg back, and as soon as they got that quick couple of goals and kick one after the siren, you knew that they were going to peg back. And it was just. For me, I back the Bulldogs. I think the Bulldogs are a good side and they should be there. I don't know why they're looking at Lukey Beveridge and speculation around him, but Johnny Longmire, to see that emotion after the game,
that was great.
Point to a couple of players, they all jumped and got around him, 300 games, the big horse, and you talk about, cultures at football club and coaches and, the difference, and I've spoken about a lot of times about, the difference between Paul Roos leaving a football club and Johnny Longmire taking over compared to when Alistair Clarkson left the Hawks and Sam Mitchell taking over. That's the difference. You watch it on Thursday night. That's what footy clubs are about. So well done to the big horse.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the return to form of the Trash Panda. He doesn't want to get called the Tip Rat. So Jimmy Brayshaw and Billy Brownless have come up with a nickname of the Trash Panda, one of those little pandas you find in Canada going through the bin. So Tommy Papley, the Trash Panda, 4 goals from him. He was back to his best, kicking goals, running around like he's just been in a Revs nightclub.
How quick does he run? No one can catch him. I want to put I think we've said we want to put a GPS on him after he kicks the goal because that's when he'll break records. But I love it. The tongue's out, the fingers up. He doesn't care about anyone else and he's off. And he's running like a wound-up little toy. But, yeah, the Trash Panda's a good name. That's a great name.
Well, what happened was they rang up Stephen Milne and they said, can we hand down the title of the tip rat to Tommy Papley? And Stephen Milne said, no way. No way. That's mine. You're not giving that away.
What about the bin chicken?
Yeah, that's a good one as well. But he's probably a little bit more fired up, like a little trash panda. Like you steal his food, he's going to fight here, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's more of a panda style rather than a chicken.
But this game, as soon as the siren went, you saw the Sydney players celebrating, but in the background, Bontempelli, who had an excellent game, you could see him just grab the mouthguard and send it flying right into the turf. So that's what every game means from now. It's so good.
Yeah, everyone. And it doesn't matter if it's a top four. Port Adelaide will be absolutely kicking themselves because double chance, where you finish, who you're going to play.
Home final versus away final in that top four. You don't want to be playing Brisbane up at the Gabba.
No, and there's so many, it's so much still to play out, which is great. And I actually think for the AFL, if they could have panned out the weekend any better, they would have penciled in exactly how it unfolded. They just love it at the moment.
Oh, exactly right. Now, on to Friday night's game. It was Melbourne 105 defeating Brisbane 104.
Wow.
Exactly right. Thanks, Owen Wilson. Max Gawn, best on ground. Probably the best game by any player so far this season. Yeah,
look, another big man getting best on ground, which is fantastic. We're getting around him, but on the back of that, then a lot of speculation around Brodie Grundy. What happens with him next year? But we spoke about this last week. What happens? When Gawn did go down earlier on in the year, they had Grundy. It's just that Gawn is up and running at the moment. So look, another great game. It was just for me. I backed the Dogs. They got done by 2 points. I backed the Lions. They got done by 1 point. So you're off to a pretty bad start leading into the weekend. But it's just two cracking games. And again, Melbourne just jumped out of the box. Everything they did was right. And I was actually, I was really surprised. And I gave Brisbane a lot of credit to be able to peg back. They tightened up. They worked around the stoppages. They knew what they need to do. And they ended up playing the MCG really well. I got a text message from a mate halfway through the third quarter about, like the Lions are back. Goodbye, the D's. Time is over. And then, of course, I woke up in the morning, saw that there was only 1 point in it with Melbourne winning, and all I texted him back at 5:30 in the morning was, morning.
That's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
But that Brisbane MCG curse just lives on, doesn't it? 5 wins in 19 years, obviously, since they had that good run with the three-peat. Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? So but they will take some confidence out of that. Yeah,
I wouldn't watch the first half. I'll be watching the second half, the second quarter, half of the third, because they played a lot of good footy and they played the MCG well. But as you say, if I'm a team playing them at the MCG during finals, I'll be reminding them. Exactly. And another good game by Christian Petrarca, 26 disposals, 4 goals. He's doing everything at the moment. What a star. Yeah, well, he's in that zone too. Like, I kind of look at those continue-on goal kickers, and this week I'll be taking Petrarca, I'll be taking Papley. These blokes who's just starting to find, starting to get the taste of goals. When you get a taste of goals, you continue on for a couple of weeks. Even Shai Bolton, that we'll get to shortly as well. Yes, and then in the next game, it was Collingwood 113 defeating Fremantle 67. As expected, this one could have probably got even more out of hand. Freo did peg them back right at the end, but it's Collingwood at the moment. I think that's just about all you can say. Yeah, look, how good they are. And they are the full machine. If, Jamie Elliott's not stepping up, suddenly somebody else is. But I think this says more about Fremantle. They're in dire straits at the moment. They are. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of the year. You saw, nothing to see here with, I think it was Vossi in the box. At a certain time, or Buckley, one of them was
Nathan Buckley.
No, Buckley, because Vossi's in the cup. But with Bucks in the box, you sit there, nothing to see here. But there's got to be a little bit to see, because at the moment, the way they've really struggled this year, they need to do something, because they can't have another year like this. So it's going to be interesting to see, how it all unfolds, because there'll be a few players putting up their hands saying, you know what, I want out.
Yeah, and I think I said this at the start of the year. I think Josh Carr, he played such a big role he was their midfield coach last year, and they had one of the best midfields, leading nearly every stat last year in the midfield. Josh Carr goes to Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide now the best midfield in the competition. Fremantle slides massively. That's not a coincidence, in my opinion.
No, he's been often. Who knows if he'll ever do that? Senior coach, but that senior assistant coach is probably better than being the head coach.
Yeah, yeah.
You just
you get a lot of the glory with none of the criticism, don't you?
Absolutely. So that's a good way to be.
And next game, Gold Coast 77 defeated St Kilda 51. Sometimes curses mean more than statistics. We said it last week. New coach, Gold Coast simply won't lose. Exactly what happened.
Oh, yeah, I've got 2 houses now. I put one on it.
Yeah, that's good.
I wish I did. I haven't got the balls to do that.
Yeah.
The thought was always there. But, yeah, look, they were. But, the Saints are really struggling at the moment. They haven't got a key forward. They've got a lot of young kids that, when you've played 17, 18 rounds of footy, you're starting to get beaten up a little bit too. You slow down a little. We've seen that with Adelaide as well. So, it's just they're not mature enough and physical enough to be able to play out the 24 rounds and also finals. So Ressie Lyons said that he needs another pre-season with the Saints, which I kind of agree with. But at the same time, they were just so good early that you're just hoping that they win enough games to make it. That's all you kind of hope. And the Suns had to respond, and they did. But what I liked about it was that it was everyone. You still had your top liners doing well, but you had a couple of players that Will Powell has been quiet for a couple of weeks, suddenly starting to take some marks and show a bit. And what I liked, and I don't want to see this only when you're winning either, is that little bit of arrogance. That push and shove didn't allow him to walk on top of him. Went and got the ball and pushed him over, and there's a little bit of that about him. So I like that.
A week full of emotion, you need to release something out there, don't you? Like, you just need to get that out. And it wasn't over the top. I fully agree with you on that. It was just competitive. And after the week they've had, they just needed to be competitive. Win or lose, just be competitive.
Yeah, and they had to too, because they made the call on Tuesday. Then they shut up shop. No players were allowed to do much media at all. They said, we're going to concentrate on Saturday, and they were able to do it. But, as we say, one hot day doesn't make a summer. So we'll see how they rebound this weekend.
And Carlton, 122, defeating Port Adelaide 72. The streak is over. It was a 13-game win streak, but well done to the Blues. They played really well. Yes, Port Adelaide had some out, but can't forget Harry Mackay also went down early with a knee injury. So fair play to the Blues, just too good. Yeah,
look, it was remarkable, really. And there was so many Blues supporters, everyone going, oh, you haven't beaten anyone, And, the Blues supporters say, well, you know what? All we're waiting for is
opportunity.
We're waiting. We're just waiting to play for somebody against somebody, and if we beat them, then we can start spruiking. So, the Blues supporters are out and about and absolutely spruiking, and so they should be. Port Adelaide been a cracking team, and all their players, and as you mentioned before, every one of their players has been hard out for the last 13, 14 weeks, and they've been down, but they've been able to get themselves back on top. But they were blown away in every aspect of that game. And you know what? Sometimes that just happens.
It does, and it was a great game by the whipping boy down at Carlton. Whenever they lose, Jack Silvani just seems to cop it from all the fans, and it was career best 4 goals for him. Played a big role when Harry Mackay went down. In my opinion, was actually best on ground in this game, so behind Dan Houston.
And what gets me with that is that if you watch Silvani week in, week out, he has an absolute crack. And, he's going in as a second ruckman, nowhere near as tall as the others.
Getting beaten
up, battles on, runs hard, does all the little things, the 1%ers, gets up forward. If Harry Mackay or Curnow aren't kicking goals, they'll put Silvani up there. He'll take a mark. He'll slot one. He just plays his role beautifully for that club. So, absolutely, he absolutely deserves everything he gets. I reckon he's a star.
Yeah, so do I. And it was good to see Patrick Cripps these last few weeks. He's just been back to his explosive best. At the start, he was still getting, his 20 to 25 touches, but now he's really just bursting through the packs and showing that explosive speed and ability just to burst from a contest that he had last year.
Yeah, but that comes with confidence and winning.
Yeah.
It's really hard. We can talk about West Coast as well, a couple of theirs players, and when they're up and about, you see that. You see these players have that energy and burst. And, when you're losing, that just that little bit of negative mindset of, gee, can I actually get away with this? Can I do this? Compared to when you're confident, you don't even think about this. You said, this is how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So it's only a 5%, 2% change, but it's a big difference.
It is. And he spoke actually before the game. He said, he actually got asked a question, do you think a few players were playing with ego? And he said, no. He said, what our issue was we got so down. We kept on trying to try harder. We each just kept on trying probably too hard. And then it looks like they're trying to do too much because they're all just trying too much.
Yeah, and that can happen. You can always try too hard. And that's why sometimes you just got to go out there and just play, just ignore it and just play footy. And it sounds as stupid as it sounds, it's hard to do.
It is. No, 100%. Now, this next game, it was the Scott Cup. It's back in the AFL. And Chris has brought home the chocolates once again, gets the seat at the dinner table. Yeah. Brad Scott's eating in the dog bowl.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got the lamb roast with Tom Cruise. And Brad, you're out the back on the barbecue. So, look, it was what do you say about both teams here? Like, Geelong were fantastic.
Scary.
Geelong were scary. Yeah, absolutely. They've got all their players back. They're building momentum. We've seen it so many times over the years that normally the premiership side start off slow and they build. Geelong are just build.
Yeah.
You don't want to be playing them. It's going to be a cracker this weekend. But then the Bombers too had a cracking run. How long? They've had a very, very good run. And I reckon Brad Scott's thinking exactly the same as Ross Lyon. I need another pre-season with this mob.
Yeah.
So what they've been able to achieve so far, I reckon they've overachieved so far. I think they've been, absolutely happy with their year. But, they would have liked to give, the Cats, if they played Cats down there round 2, it might have been a bit different. But, right now, the Cats are purring and the Bombers are, just need to try and find a couple of wins.
They do. And Ross Lyon said it the week before, and I think Brad Scott said it in the press conference after the game, said Geelong are the best team in the competition right now, without a doubt. And that's what they said. It said, so look out, everyone.
But as we know, they've just got so many avenues, haven't they? They've got great defence, and then their midfield plays everything they need to do, and they've got enough numbers. And then you got other players. If Gary Rowan's not kicking 4, Tommy Hawkins kicking 4, or else you've got Myers kicking a couple, Stengel. There's just so many options for him to be able to, kick goals.
And when that Jezza Cameron bloke slots back in, he just adds another one, doesn't he?
Oh, you just get him warmed up, ready for September. Why play before September, he reckons?
Spot on. And now Zach Merritt, obviously it was his 200th game on the weekend. Now he copped a bit of a nudge, and yes, he did put Mayo on it. He was fined $1,500 from the AFL for staging. Where have the rest of these been every single week? There's been 10 that are worse this week alone. Cody Waitman should be fined $1,500 every single week. Maxi King, he copped a couple little ones and dropped like a sack of potatoes. Yeah. Dead set. You can't pick one out, especially in the bloke's 200th. Come on, the AFL, give me a spell.
Yeah, I'm with you. But if they do it, they actually make themselves look stupid.
Yeah.
So what I'd do is I wouldn't fine them. I'd get all of them and get a photo of the incident and put it on, like most wanted.
Yeah.
Signed. Yeah. Like just the weakest or whatever it is, or the stupidest, and just make posters of them and go and put up around all the streets around Australia. So we know who this week was got the soccer award of the week. The staging. You don't want to start finding players, and I know why they do it, but you are correct. There's so many situations each and every week that you could find players for staging. Like, how many times do players cop one high and then suddenly it's like whiplash and they've done three cartwheels backwards? It's like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, and I think that's what all we want as a fan collective is consistency. If we can see consistency, we're all right. That's all we need. But when you're picking one or not the other, it's the same with tackles at the moment. That's where we're getting confused. We don't have that consistency. Yeah,
I'm with you. But when has the AFL or the AFL tribunal ever been consistent?
Yeah, Yeah, I actually said that at the start of the year I did my predictions, and the headline that you won't see was AFL fans happy with consistency of the MRO.
See, there you go. We've got to 3 quarters through the season and we still haven't got the consistency.
Nah, but we'll move on to the next game, and I had the pleasure of being at this one. GWS 71, running right over the top of Adelaide 57, who looked like they had them on toast. But you just felt watching this game live that GWS were the better team throughout the night. They weren't. I think Crows had a few quick transitions. Josh Rochelle got a bit fired up and threw a handbag at someone and didn't really connect. But well done to GWS, the better side on the night. Big shout out goes to Sam Taylor. Shut down Tex Walker after quarter time. He's a star.
Yeah, well, and they're the keys. Shutting down Adelaide, Tex Walker, Isaac Rankin, Rochelle. Those guys that they're real goal kickers. But for me, what stood out? You were there at the game.
Yep.
For me, I've been a fan. I thought GWS were always going to be pretty close to making the 8, even at the start of the year. I felt that they had a pretty good side. Probably lacked 1 or 2, but then their big man has really stood up in the middle and given them that first juice and given them another aspect. So for me, and we're always destined to say, well, if Toby Green goes off the rails, well, there's no GWS. What did you see watching them live?
Yeah, so the way they launch off half back, the orange tsunami is an actual thing. You watch them, they all push back so hard, but then as soon as they turn the ball over, they just sprint and they take off in all separate directions. So you can't just cover one part of the ground because they spread all over the ground. So if the switch is on, they'll switch it. They don't care where they get it, they'll go. But one person I need to really point out in this game, and I actually sat back and watched him, just watched him for a quarter, was Toby Green. He is such a smart footballer. Love watching him play. Yeah,
really? So, and that's what I normally go to the football. If I go to the football, I like to go and watch a player. I don't go and watch a team. I like to go to the footy to watch a player. I used to love going and watch Gary Everitt Jr. I'd go and watch a De Goey, a Stringer. I enjoy watching these players. So you reckon, and I've never been really to do any GWS games, but you reckon that's a go. Go and actually just watch Toby Green.
Exactly right. Now, the first half, I watched a couple of times. Jesse Hogan got marks at 35-metre mark, one on the boundary. And what he did is he just took off. As soon as they had the ball, he looked at Jesse Hogan and just said, do that. And he ran straight in to Jesse Hogan's opponent. And then he doubled back, went all the way around, led on his own. So then his opponent, Michael Annie, was caught up in this, in a bit of a car crash. And then Jordan Butts, who was standing Jesse Hogan, was caught up with his Crows opponent. He does it so well, but then he gets forward and then he gets back. He's just such a smart, and his voice, you could, I was about 7 or 8 rows back, you could hear his voice from the sidelines.
Really? Yeah, that's great. And that's leadership. That's leadership. He's probably the most important player in the AFL. Side.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah. If there's any young footballers out there that just want to, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have footy smarts, you won't go very far. Toby Green is the smartest player in the AFL. I will say that. Maybe not with when it comes to your maths or your science, but when it comes to football IQ, the smartest footballer in the competition for me.
And just sticking up for Toby Green right here, right now, I don't know what his maths is like.
Yeah, he's probably brilliant.
Absolutely. He's probably got three degrees, all that we know. So we don't know, Toby. We're just making an outside prediction.
Yeah, exactly right. And GWS are just storming home like Chautauqua. I had to put that in there. I love the grey flash, but storming home for finals. And it actually looks like round 24, GWS will be playing Carlton, and that could be for the 8th spot. So look out.
Let's hope they're not like Chautauqua towards the end.
Yeah, well, they just stay in the gates.
Yeah, where they just walk out of the change room and look left, look right, and go, yeah, no, I'm not running today.
Yeah, just backing in.
Yeah, one of the great horses, Chautauqua.
Now, 2 absolute blockbusters it was on the Sunday. No, I can't even say that. Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. This did look like a bottom 4 clash, but it was Hawthorn 88 defeating North Melbourne 40. Not much more to say in this one. Just want to touch on Will Day. Had a real breakout year. He's a great size. I think he's going to be an absolute star in the years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you will see out of both teams a couple of stars coming through. But when you're looking at the ladder positions at the moment, these 2 teams were supposed to be level pegged. And North Melbourne, gee, they got some work to do.
Yeah.
They got a lot of work to do. And when you look at Brett Ratton coaching at the moment, Clarko's, yeah, he's there, but he's not there. And he's going to come back this week, but not next week, and then come back the week after, and maybe the week after that.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's really messy down there.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can see that in the players. They're all confused. They don't know where are we at. Like it's, you know, I feel sorry for that footy club right now. I feel sorry for a lot of the players. And, you know, Brett Ratton will be trying to do the best he can. But, yeah, it just wouldn't be a happy place with the season they've had. And, unfortunately, you can't see them getting much better next year.
Yep, no, definitely can't. Now, we'll move on to the – I'll go through these games pretty quickly, I think. They're both not real not the best games, but it was Richmond 98 defeating West Coast 60. Another game when, as expected, the Eagles had their moment in this, but Richmond were just simply too strong all over the ground.
Absolutely, and Richmond have every chance of playing finals now. So they are super excited. They've got their mojo back. They're able to run forward. So, yeah, the Tigers, they do the job. They get the job done when it needs to be done, and that was a positive. Yeah,
it was. Now, Shai Bolton, your man, you wanted to touch on him a little bit?
Well, absolutely. I think he's the form. He's found some really good form at the moment. You talk about players that have turned the key, and he is one of Richmond's barometers. You talk about Dusty, but Shai Bolton, I think he's had 30 and kicked goals over the last couple of weeks. When he's up and about, he's starting to drag players with him. Yeah. And I was hoping he could do this a little bit earlier in the year. He's doing it now, but I still believe that, off the back of him, that you never know, they could still play finals, and it'll be a huge achievement if they do. So, especially McWalter, he's in there as the coach. Will they give him the top job? This is there's so many big questions. Yeah, well, he's doing himself every favour. They're playing some good footy. So, yeah, I'm a massive Shai Bolton fan, but you need him. He needs to be kicking goals. He needs to be running forward, kicking goals.
I think for Shai Bolton as well, is probably one criticism this year has been that he hasn't had those good games against the best sides. That's probably where he's gone missing this year. He's had some really good games against the North Melbournes, against West Coast. For him, or for Richmond to make finals, I'd like to see him, turn on a 3-goal, 25-possession game against a Melbourne or against a Geelong or against a Brisbane or a Port. And I think that's the one thing for him that's let him down a little bit this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see that over the next couple of weeks. So, and, as we mentioned, those sides that need to make the finals, they're all in a little cluster there right now. So Richmond's one of those. And he needs to stand up for them to play finals. And
it could have been a bit of a Andrew Gaff and Dom Sheed job interview here, and a few whispers for them going to go back. But Andrew Gaff, he's on $700,000 a year at the moment, not playing like it. But I think he's really hoping for a bit of a job interview, maybe have one last crack at a premiership side.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a few players at West Coast that will do that. And there's plenty of sides. I think St Kilda's mad if they don't look at a couple of players like this. I think the Bombers will be mad if they don't look at a bit of talent, even GWS. So there's going to be the market out there for those players, because any team that's sitting realistically in the top 10, outside of probably your Collingwood, who couldn't fit them in anyway, everyone else would look at those players. Absolutely.
Exactly. Now, before we move on to overreaction or spot on, just want to touch on a couple I met at the Beer and Barbecue Fest. They're listeners of the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Never met them. And that big Gold Coast fan, Spida. They travel up from Adelaide to the Gold Coast with their kids, Ayla and Harley, who are huge Gold Coast fans. So I just want to give a huge shout out to them. Lovely people. Met them at the Beer and Barbecue Fest. Thank God I met them at about 9 o'clock and it wasn't 12 o'clock.
Well, you've done well writing their names down. So
that's why I did it.
Well, hopefully, they love the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is a good place to get up here with the kids. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's definitely worse places to go. But now overreaction or spot on time, kicking off with Geelong go in as favourites against everyone come finals time, no matter who they play.
No.
You don't reckon?
No, I still believe that against, if you're playing at Geelong MCG, I still reckon Melbourne will be $1.88, $1.92.
Yeah.
I reckon, Collingwood would have to go in a little bit favourite.
Yeah, I can understand
Port Adelaide, maybe Geelong, just Brisbane because of the, if they play Brisbane up in Brisbane, absolutely. Yep. So, no, settle down. Overreaction.
Okay, fair enough. Now, next one, Nick Dacos can start writing his Brownlow medal speech right now.
Oh, you should have had it 3 weeks ago. Absolutely. And you know what I love? Look, this is one I've prepared a little bit earlier.
Yep. Little Palmer bet.
I actually think every player who thought they were going to be a chance in the top 10 has always thought that what they'd say if they won the Brownlow.
Yeah.
So, a lot of players always think it. He can actually put it down on pen and paper because he's going to have to say it. So,
exactly.
No
as long as he don't have an Adam Cooney scenario where he was on the gas all night, drinking every vote. And then he got up there absolutely plastered and let everyone know he proposed to his wife with a burger ring.
Yeah. Well, we were in the same room. I had a ball on Saturday night, and we're in the Palladium room at the casino.
Yeah.
And they were serving up the Crown Lagers like they do on Brownlow night. And normally, like Brownlow night, you're normally 5 or 6 deep for Crown Lagers. And I said, come on, load them up. This should be like Brownlow night.
Exactly right. Now, the final one, Brody Grundy won't be at Melbourne next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I don't
think he will be. Yeah, I think he will be. I think, Melbourne, and we've seen how big men are so vital these days and how good we've been. You can go through every team from, the Gold Coast Suns to the Western Bulldogs to GWS, how important a big man is. And I reckon, Melbourne right now, do they need him? No. Is he probably got 1 or 2 years? Absolutely. So let's offload him and get at least something, get something for him. They're only paying half his wage anyway, so they're not going to lose much.
And where would you think he would go?
Well, I think Brody want to go too. You don't want to finish your career playing twos footy because Gaunt's, to be honest, I'd have to sit down and look at,
I'd be
most
looking
clubs.
At Port Adelaide. Adelaide boy, Port Adelaide really lacking good everywhere else, but you could sell that. You get to ruck to Butters, Rosie, Willem Drew, Travis Boak, Ollie Wines. These are the guys that they're going to make you look like an All-Australian ruckman again. That's just an automatic sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they can get him for that price tag. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. North Melbourne and these sides will obviously chase him as well. But, right now, if you're going to go anywhere, why wouldn't you go somewhere in a top 8 team? And I reckon there's a top 8 team that would have him.
Yeah.
I actually think he's in a good spot.
Yeah.
Like, it's not doom and gloom.
No. And he's a very level-headed bloke. Like you heard him said, no, this is best for the team. I'm not playing the best footy. I need to go and work on my forward craft. And I thought that's spot on. You're not out there bitching and moaning. You're saying, I need to get better. It's a good decision. Well done.
Yeah. And I reckon he'll find a home. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, field one, bench one, sack one.
Oh, okay.
Will Ashcroft, Harry Sheasel, Mitch Owens.
Oh, wow. I would probably go, and it's so hard because they're all different,
they're all different players, and they're all going to be superstars.
Yeah, I'd go Sheasel on the ground.
Yep.
I'll be having Owens coming off the bench.
Yep.
And I'll sack Ashcroft.
Yep. And that's a hard decision because he could be a Brownlow medalist in 5 years' time.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
I'm going Sheasel as well, and then I'm going Ashcroft, and then Owens.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's hard too because Owens could win a Brownlow next. No.
Exactly. Or the Coleman. He could win the Coleman as well. So,
I reckon Mitch Owens will win Rising Star.
I think he should, and I've said that from about the halfway point. He hasn't got the stats of the other two, but in terms of impact and how hard the position that he's how hard the position that he's playing is, I really think Mitch Owens should be leading it for me. And
you sack him.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
No, neither do I. Don't use logic with me, Spida.
No. Okay.
What do they say? Don't argue with an idiot. They'll drag you down and beat you with experience. Right. Now, we've done a Spida bite. Now I'm bringing back Brody's Bake of the Week for this one.
Okay.
Right. Gordon Bradbury.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Now, to everyone else out there in podcast land and Conor McGregor, Gordon Bradbury is the Lord Mayor of Wollongong. Now, he has refused to give Alex Volkanovski the keys to the city due to his belief that the UFC is a violent and a dangerous activity.
Oh, he's not happy at the gong.
Nah. So Alex Volkanovski, the best Australian athlete in the world at the moment. The only one that could possibly compete would be Sam Kerr if the Matildas win this World Cup.
Yeah.
But let's look at some of the past recipients of the Wollongong Keys to the City.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Cyrus Villanueva. I don't even know if that's how you say it. Apparently, he won the X Factor in 2017.
No way.
Big honour, winning the X Factor. Spider, you and me could win the X Factor if we went on it.
No,
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yep.
And he got keys to the city.
Yep. Richard Tognetti. He's a violin soloist. Okay. Now we move into a little bit of a different. Emma Tonagato, female rugby player. Yep, fair call. But a little bit dangerous, a little bit violent rugby. The St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, the whole team got given the keys to the city. They could all probably have a key and they still wouldn't know how to unlock it just because they've been hit in the head that many times.
Yeah.
Now, the last one, Wayne Gardner. Do you know what he did?
Yeah.
He rode motorbikes.
Absolutely. He's a superstar.
Yeah. Do you know what's more dangerous than getting whacked in the head by a featherweight? Going around a corner at 200 k's an hour on a bloody motorbike. Or running headfirst into a 120 kilogram Maori bloke.
Yeah.
Dead set.
What's worse?
Bradbury. Pull your finger out your ass. Give the keys to the city to Wollongong. Wollongong. What else is Wollongong known for? Alex Volkanovski, claim him. If he's not going to do it, Locke will claim him. I'll give him the keys to Locke. Come down to Locke. Jump on board with Spida. We'll give him the keys to Locke.
Absolutely, yeah. Give him the keys to Locke. I'd make a campaign about this because at Wollongong, what are you going to lock at the gong? There's nothing down there. Who cares about the gong? It's got one big hill that goes down into it, and the best thing out of it, the road.
Exactly.
So I reckon give him the keys to Locke because what's Locke got? What have you guys got there?
We got some pretty good Kranskis here, and Kranskis and donuts we're known for.
See?
Yeah.
That's what he wants. Kranskis and donuts.
Tell you what, it beats an X Factor winner and a violin soloist.
I cannot believe it. That makes me laugh. He's not. If I was him, I'd be just blowing up Royale saying, hang on, I've just won the toughest world sport in the world.
I'm the pound for pound best in the world.
Pound to pound. And you're putting an X Factor winner above me? I'd say, I don't. You know what? If I was Volk, you know what I'd do?
No.
Next time there's an election, I'd run against him.
Yeah. And just say, all right, I'll pull out. You jump in the cage one round with me, and I'll pull out.
Absolutely.
Or give me the keys to the city. No, just move, Volk. We'll take you in at Lock. Town of 300 people. You might just explode the town. Set up a little MMA gym here. I reckon we could do it. Put a bunch of farmers into MMA fighters and watch how they go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Great spray.
While we're both fired up.
It's that time of the week where we find out what's been grinding the big fella's gears. It's time for Spider Bites.
It's my turn because you know what? You don't see the Gold Coast Suns kicking a lot of goals. And when they did on the weekend, it started annoying me. Because every time they kicked a goal, they had this and then and then a little bit of a didgeridoo sound after every single goal.
Yeah.
Now, come on, we're past that. Like, watch the Brisbane Lions when Charlie Cameron kicks a goal and they have the music
Country
playing.
roads.
Yeah, take me home to a place. And Charlie singing it, the crowd singing it, the Gold Coast Suns, nothing. I wanted to start putting some music in amongst the players. I reckon everyone kicking a goal should have their own song. Everyone in the AFL. And that's the holy grail. Even I don't care, Simply the Best by Tina Turner. Or bring on a little bit of Lionel Richie. I remember at the grand final in 2011, I think it was, when Lionel Richie was up there. The whole crowd was up there singing, dancing on the ceiling. That's better than the that the Gold Coast Suns pump out after every goal. You wonder why people laugh at the Suns because they've got no, energy around players kicking goals. You've got some great players like Errol from Golden Sydney. From Sydney. Yeah. Get the James Rain or Aussie Crawl Errol.
Yeah.
That's what we need. It's a Rex Hunt style kind of commentary after a goal. We need that to express their personalities when kicking a goal. That is the art of sport.
Have you heard Oscar McInerney's from the Brisbane Lions when he kicks a goal?
It would have to be Oscar the Grouch, surely, from Sesame Street.
Am I Not Pretty Enough by Casey Chambers?
Is it?
Yeah.
See, Cameron Ling should have had exactly the same from Geelong. There's so many great songs out there, and we should write a list of what songs should be played for what players, because that would be our next assignment, because there'd be some crackers out there.
Oh, there absolutely would be. And there's plenty going on in other sporting news. Obviously, the Ashes starting again. Did you see who jumped off the plane over in England?
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't say jump.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, he just
big heavy Jew.
Big Stewie Jew.
Now, I've got a theory on this.
Okay.
Remember Mark Cosgrove?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they're sending him in for Davey Warner. Yeah.
Really?
Stewie Jew. I reckon they've just misplaced him for Mark Cosgrove. And I reckon he's going to be opening the batting. Because how much of that English side do you reckon would sledge Stewie Jew? None. Because he will just take him out the back and just belt him. He's not in the mood. Just play him. You can't get suspended. You can't get sent off in cricket. Just go out there and just belt up half the English side. Yeah. See how you go.
I've got the other theory.
Yep.
I reckon he's over there as security for the Australian cricket team for when they walk to go to lunch.
Yep.
Because they said Travis Head was called the C word.
Yeah.
Kawaja said, and I'm thinking, what? Clever? Champion? I'm just trying to work out what C word. I don't know why he can't tell us.
Well, I think here in Australia, champion's looked at just as bad as the actual C word. You call someone champ or champion, you better start running, mate. You're in trouble.
So, the Ashes is kicking off. Going to be huge. I think, I'm actually really looking forward to the FIFA, the World Cup, the Women's World Cup.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, isn't it? And it's there's so much hype around it too. And I reckon it could be the biggest World Cup, female women's World Cup ever.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to the casino next Thursday night to watch it when the Matildas take to the stage. So I cannot wait. Big crowd, massive big screen. That's going to be huge. So, the hype around it. They're getting 60,000, 70,000 to the games, which is massive. So well done to the World Cup. I really look forward to that. And what about, I think the biggest news is just Victoria just pulling out of the Commonwealth Games.
We said it at the start of the year. Victoria, no longer the sporting capital. Bring it to South Australia.
Will they take it?
No, I think West Australia. Basil Zempilas. I think Basil, he's the mayor over there, put a little bit of a we'll take it comment up this morning. So, but that's 3 years. That's a lot they're going to need to build and get ready. It was initially budgeted at 2.6 million. It's come out today. It's going to be 6 or 7 billion. How do you get that so wrong? Like that's just not out by by 10 or so million. That's out by 4 billion.
I know. That's like a kindergarten kid doing the accounting there.
Yeah.
When they're trying to dish out lollies and chocolates. Like they have no idea. The Gold Coast, it should actually go back to the Gold Coast because we've got all the infrastructure for when they stuffed it up in 2018.
Yeah.
So it was a good games, but the infrastructure around it all and that many businesses really lost a lot of money during that period of time. They should just give it back and learn so much what they did wrong that they'd actually do it all so much, better. So, and it's all there. It's ready to go.
It is. I think they also mentioned that, but I think with all the setup and all the planning they're doing for the Olympic Games in 2032, they're focusing all on that at the moment. So
yeah. No, imagine the city council trying to focus on two things.
Oh,
wow. One that's in 2026 and one that's in 2032. Hold me down, slow down. We can't work this quick.
I'm going to need another 3.5% pay rise for that one, I think.
Yeah. And who votes for it? Oh, yeah, that's right. We do.
Yeah.
Everybody in favour, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Oh, okay. We get a pay rise.
And then we'll just tax everyone else more. Right. And
Jesus, we've had a good bitch, haven't we?
Oh, we have. We'll just keep going. But no, we've got a better touch on one great sporting moment. Carlos Alcaraz, the 20-year-old tennis phenom. He's got the world at his feet right now. People love him on the court, the way he conducts himself, the way he conducts him off the court. He is going to be a sponsor's dream. He's going to be the next Roger Federer just with his sponsorship, the way he talks, the way he acts. He's going to be huge.
Well, I've got to give a big shout out here to the Tugan sellers. Just dropped in there on the way home, and the guy there behind the jump, and I didn't get his name, and I should have. He said, "Do you follow the tennis?" I said, "I love the tennis." And he said, "The young fella will win. It's a changing of the guard tonight. He will win." So
I said the same.
I went home and loaded up on him. I said, "Absolutely." I was nervous in the fourth, but got there in the fifth. And you're right, just for a 20-year-old, and we spoke about Nick Kyrgios with this, saying that the average age of somebody or to win a title or a US Open, a Wimbledon, a French Open is under 25.
Yeah.
Nick Kyrgios is 29. So by the time he plays his next tournament, has he left his run too late? When you're thinking about young kids like this, he can match Nick Kyrgios toe to toe.
Yeah. So you're saying I've got no chance of winning the Wimbledon title anymore, Spide, because I'm 29 as well?
Absolutely, you're out.
That's the only thing that was holding me back.
that's what I was pegging my life on. I'm still taking out Wimbledon.
Mate, even if I got knocked out in the first round, I think they get something stupid like $100,000 for getting knocked out in the first round. So
125.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. A little bit of pocket money for an hour's work.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to move into this now. The Brownlow Medal Tracker Leaderboard.
Love it. Surely he's got to be number one. You can't catch him now.
On 30 votes with 4-5 games to go, Nick Dacos, $1.55.
$1.55.
Yeah.
That's short. That'd be the shortest Brownlow medalist for a long time.
I think Ollie Wines might have been around that stage when he was when he won that year, because he got 36 votes or something stupid that year as well. But on 24 votes, we've got Christian Petrarca at $5.
Yep.
We've got Connor Rosé on 24 votes at $41.
Oh, my money's on him, and I got him at 17s. Now I've got to do you reload?
I think Dacos is home and hosed, but top 3, top 5 would be the bet for me. Now, Marcus Bontempelli, 24 votes as well, $10. Jordan Dawson, 24 votes, $17. And then 23 votes, Zach Merritt.
But at the same time, there's a couple, but there's still, how many games? 6 games?
Yep.
7 games. 6 games left.
5 games.
So they're one injury, the most anyone's going to get. You know what I mean? Like, you got to say, okay, if Dacos does get injured, and touch wood he doesn't, because he's a star, but so you got 4 games to try and pick up 8 votes to 10 votes. So that's when you start finding it pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I've also got one more best bet while we're talking about it, and it's the multi-builder. Got it through, and it is the AFL Premiership multi-builder. So I've got Geelong, top 8. If you had $1 million, I would be putting this on $1.20 for Geelong to finish in the top 8. That should be $1.01.
So $1.20, $1 million bucks, you're getting $200,000 back.
Easiest $200,000 you ever make in your life.
I'll tell you what.
Easiest.
How would you explain that to the missus?
You wouldn't. When it comes in, you can explain it.
Look, I've just got this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Now, Geelong need to make the grand final, or else we're living in that swag.
Yeah.
So,
Tilly, you're sleeping in with the chooks. Also, in the multi, I've got Western Bulldogs top 8, $1.45. Essendon top 8, $1.65. And Melbourne top 4, $1.20. Altogether, $3.44.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yep. The Bombers are the nervous one there.
They are. I've just chucked it up on the Australia Sports website. The run home, put it into a decimal system, little mathematical equations.
Oh.
Yep. So have a look at that if you're listening. But we better get into this week's games. And it kicks off with Essendon versus the Western Bulldogs on Friday night. No Thursday night football. 50-50 game for me.
Look, there's a lot of them around too this weekend, and you're right. The Bombers need to bounce back, but watching over the weekend, even against the Bulldogs, they're still solid.
They were.
They earn respect. I still think that they're a good enough side. Their engine, their full line is just massive at the moment, and be really interesting. Again, you're talking about Rory Lybe and where he sits, but the Bulldogs have just got enough. So, for the Bombers, getting a little bit tired. Hopefully they bounce back. But for me, I'll be sticking with the Dogs. And I still like, you've got to try and find which one of them is going to kick multiple goals this weekend. I'm going with Waitman.
With Cody Waitman?
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice. I think in this one for me, I'd be going 2-metre-Peter to kick multiple goals. I don't think, with obviously Liam Jones out, they're not going to have that big, tall backman or someone that can really stand 2-metre-Peter. I think it's going to end up on his foot. If he can kick over 4, I think Essendon will win. Otherwise, I think Bulldogs win.
Could Rory Lobb play on 2-metre-Peter?
No. Rory Lobb hasn't got a defensive bone in his body.
He was quick, though.
Yeah, he's quick, but he can't run backwards. He only runs forward.
Well, if he starts full back, he's only got one way to run.
Yeah. Tommy Patley, how fast do you reckon he would run into the back lines? Compared to if he was running after a goal?
Oh, no.
It'd be 30K difference, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 30K easy.
No, Bulldogs for me in that one. Next one, Richmond versus Hawthorn. Another chance for Richmond to really start climbing into that 8.
Yeah, and they'll do that. They're experienced enough. They've got enough power at the moment. Dusty, very, very lucky with his little elbow behind the scenes. So, look, it's Dusty. You got to let him go anyway. He's been a superstar for a long period of time. He's got runs on the board. So, yeah, Richmond, they've got their mojo. They're running nicely. Stick with the Tigers.
Now, this one here, Carlton versus the West Coast Eagles. How many does Charlie kick? Put a number on it now for me, mate.
Well, do you back him now for the Coleman before he starts? That's the big question.
I'd be a little bit worried because Texas still got West Coast to come at the end.
Yeah, but I think it's either this week you're going to get value for money because he'll drop. If he kicks a bag of 6 or 7 without – is Harry back?
No, Harry's out for 6 weeks.
So, he's the man. So, yeah, look, I'll be loading up. Carlton easy for me. I'm actually really looking forward to Carlton playing. They're actually a really good team to watch. And
they are now, aren't they?
Yeah, I love it when they are up and about because just so many of my mates are Carlton supporters, finally they're smiling again. I was so depressed for such a long period of time.
Yep. But no, Carlton, I'm going 7 for Charlie.
Oh, 7?
Yeah. What are you going?
I'm going 5. He'll kick
5. Yeah, I reckon he'll kick 5 by half time.
Ooh, that's textile.
Yeah.
That's big text like.
Yeah. No, 7. I'll put that up as my best bet for the week. I reckon Charlie to kick 7+. Next one, game of the round, Brisbane Lions versus Geelong, who are absolutely flying at the moment. But at the Gabatoir, this is another 50-50 game. But I'm going with the Lions just because it's at the Gabba.
Yeah, you won't get a seat in the house. Nope. They sell it out. Yeah, again, I think. Look, the Lions at home. The Cats, they've been up for a couple of weeks. So I'm going to stick with the Lions. I just reckon their midfield, the way they played last weekend in their midfield, they'll be able to implement that for a lot longer and they would have taken a lot away from it. So for me, it's still like, Harris Andrews, and still their forward line didn't operate perfectly last week. Geelong's got a cracking forward line. The Lions got a cracking forward line as well. But don't forget, the Cats defensively are very, very good. So, the Lions are going to have their work cut out. But because it's at home, I wouldn't be saying it would be by too much. But I'm going to stick with the Lions as well.
Yeah. Nah. And then this next one, Fremantle versus Sydney, Optus Stadium. I'm a Fremantle supporter and I can't tip Fremantle at the moment. That's how disappointed I am in them. Going with the Swans.
Yeah, they'll get a bit of run though. Sydney's used to those. That smaller ground, but will the bigger ground help them, or will they run out of steam come towards the end? So, look, Fremantle will challenge them. I won't expect this to be an absolute boil over, but again, I think Sydney they're too much of a professional team to allow this one to slip. And if one team can travel, Sydney, they don't care about that. They'll head over the west on Thursday or Wednesday. They'll be there for a few days even before. You even think they're going to get there. So they'll be climatised. They'll be ready to go. So I'll stick with the Swans.
Yep. And another game of the round. Port Adelaide versus... They're everywhere this...
One or two.
Cancel everything. Just sit in front of the TV.
Yep.
Get a slab. Port Adelaide versus Collingwood. Adelaide Oval. It's a bit unsure on who Port Adelaide will have back. I know Zach Butters was subbed off last weekend. Bit of a groin issue. Is he going to play? I'm going to go with Collingwood in this one.
How could you not?
Yeah.
They're the best team in the comp by a long way. And as you say, like Port Adelaide just got a couple of injury concerns. And, when Collingwood haven't really got any, their defence is solid. You can't go past, the two Dacos boys, what they're able to perform in. And what I like about their forward line is if it isn't my check, you've got, Elliott coming in to play his role, Bobby Hill. And you think Collingwood, even in their twos, they've probably got half a dozen players that can slot into that side very, very easily. So it's it's frightening at the moment. And I think Collingwood will see this as a huge test, as in like, you know what? We need to win this. This is what finals are about. We're away. We win this. We're playing at the MCG every week in September.
Do you know who I think is going to have a big game this weekend? The man who loves the big stage. I've got him on my shirt. The Mason Cox.
Oh, the big Coxie.
Big Cox, big 6'10" Cox. Obviously, they do have a Lear, but does a Lear go to a my check? I think he does. And then who do you have on big Mason Cox? I don't think you can put a Lear on a Mason Cox. Otherwise, Brody Mycheck. There's going to be so many others who get off the chain.
And that's the ability of having a tall man being able to go forward and really mix up. You only need him to go down there for 5 or 6 minutes, really upset the apple cart, come off, put a small on. By the time they make the transition, suddenly, you've got him on the back foot from the start. So, yeah, totally agree. Big Coxie.
Yeah, hopefully he can keep his goggles on. Last time he played an Adelaide side, he lost his goggles there. So hopefully they stay on this week.
Big Benny Keys just ripped them off. Did he get fined for that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He got the 1,000, didn't he?
Yeah, he struts around a bit for a bloke who's got that much hair gel in his hair that if you touched it, I reckon you'd be able to. You don't need grippo if you touch Ben Keys' hair, I reckon.
I reckon he'd have the biggest strut in the AFL right now.
You reckon?
Yeah, danger struts.
Yep.
But Benny Keys is a different strut.
Josh Shelley does too, I reckon.
Yeah, might be a Adelaide showdown. Strut.
Conor McGregor walks going on and all of them. Now, this next one here, huge finals implications. GWS versus Gold Coast Suns. Giants, if they win this, they could nearly be in the 8 by the end of this round.
Yeah. And the big question there, and you've watched them, you saw how good they were. Adelaide probably let them in a little bit, but then they were solid enough to be able to control Adelaide. You talk about the tsunami, that they are. As soon as they get the ball, they just run forward. Gold Coast Suns, though, all they need is that little bit of love, that little bit of a win, get that little bit of faith. So I'm actually going with the Gold Coast Suns. I reckon they can win this. And I know, I was on them early in the year, and then I went off them. And I think they've just got that little bit back. And, disappointing for Stewie Jupe, but at the same time, they've got to look forward. And I reckon they've got quite a few angles. I reckon they can run a little bit harder. That's the only thing that's going to hurt them is the tsunami of GWS, like the Tigers. They're going to be able to stop that and then be able to counter punch that with good run.
Yep. I think both of these sides are actually going to make finals next year. That's my early call now. I think they're both getting that list together, that 24 to 26. They've got a lot of those players. But in this game here, I'm going to go with GWS. Just think they've got too much to play for. Gold Coast, still a mathematical chance. But when you're talking mathematical chances, you can just about write your season off for me.
There's no mathematical chance. When you've got your percentage is too low, you've got no hope. Unfortunately, they're one game in percentage, so 2 games. You need a percentage right, so you need 3 games. 5 games left. Mathematically can't do it. So it'll be a cracking game at the Giant Stadium too. So hopefully they get a crowd there.
They will. Now, next game, Melbourne versus Adelaide Crows. MCG, 3:20. Crows lose this. Crows don't play finals for me.
Yeah, and look, I think they will. Melbourne have just started to find their form. As you said, off the back of Petrarca, kicking goals, being able to go forward, really upset it, just really mix it up. Gawn getting the touches. Oliver now said, look, you're not going to be playing for a few more weeks, so just get yourself right. And there's other players starting to step up. So, yeah, for me, Melbourne they're so good, aren't they? When they're on song, you think, Jesus, like them and Geelong are 2, for me, the best teams in the,
on
two
paper.
teams on paper that can challenge Collingwood. So, Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Melbourne. I reckon Adelaide, just a couple of young blokes getting a little bit sore, just a little bit off the ball.
Yeah, another team to watch going into the next, well, probably 1 or 2 years. I still think their list is probably 2 years off a real finals contention. I think they overachieved a little bit this year, but I think that's just on the back of their pressure that they brought each week. Now, final game, St Kilda versus North Melbourne. Geez, they're not finishing off these games very good, are they?
If they don't finish, if the Saints don't win this, it will be, they can't.
They simply have to, don't they?
And we know North Melbourne, they'll still see this as the Saints are in trouble at the moment. They're really struggling. Mentally, they're not right. They've got to find their mojo. They've got to get a win. This is a perfect opportunity to get them a win and bounce back. But, North Melbourne will have a bit of a sniff of that. And, geez, if we can just crack their armour early, we could be right. But you saw West Coast do that a few weeks ago, and the Saints were able to get over the top. So I think that's exactly the same will happen. North Melbourne challenged the first half, second half be all the Saints.
Yeah. Fully agree on that one. And Saints, right now, do they make finals?
Last week I would have said yes before that game because I thought they should have won.
Yeah,
I don't think they will.
No, neither do I.
Sad, and I really want them to.
Yeah,
but without King, they just need a couple of players like Membry. They just need a little bit more. They've got too many injuries.
Yeah, I agree. And King just lined them up so much better. I think that was the difference between then and now. Just lined them up and set them up through that spine. Just
gives you an option, gives you a target, big target. If it doesn't go, if he doesn't mark it, it's going to the ground, but you know where it's going.
And it takes the pressure off Filippo and Owens as well, who are getting beaten up. They're 18, 19-year-old kids. And I think Filippo was an actual young draftee. He only just squeezed in.
Yeah.
But these are young kids playing adult sport. I know that technically adults, but they're young kids, first-year players, playing in the hardest position where you get belted every week. So give them another preseason under the belt and watch them go next year, I reckon.
Absolutely. If you had if you had Membry and King in there, and then you've got these two just floating around the packs, brilliant.
Different ball game.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Now we'll finish off with questions without notice, mate. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Okay. You said you went to the beer and barbecue festival.
Yeah.
And you said you might have just lost the track of time, so you got home a little bit late.
Yeah.
The next morning, do you reload? Do you have a Coke? Do you have coffee? Or do you just think, you know what, I've got to have a beer just to put me back to where I was a little while ago?
I think it depends on what time you actually finish and what time of day it is. If you're waking up at 9 o'clock, maybe not. But no, luckily we stayed in Chinatown where we were staying in Adelaide, right next door to a little Vietnamese bakery. So I snuck next door, got a Powerade, got a banh mi, went back up there and laid in bed for a little bit.
Okay, Powerade's your one.
Yeah. What about you, mate?
No, I've got to go beer.
Yep.
I have to.
Hair of the dog.
I have to have that, and then I feel fine. It's sad, but it's so good.
Yeah. Now, on that, what is your ultimate beer of choice?
I'm a VB man.
You're a VB man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know a lot of people don't like me, but it's good.
Yeah.
Because even my mate Cookie, he'll have a party, and he'll go, look, everyone, there's your Ressie. And Spida, that's your Ressie over there.
You get your own Ressie everywhere.
He doesn't even want to mix them. He goes, there's your Ressie over there. So, yeah, absolutely.
Right. I'm a Coopers man. South Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Coopers and Southwark better. It's you'll get to try one when you come over to Lock. It's the I suppose you say it's the drink of Lock. I think we pretty well keep, we're the only ones who drink it, I think, just to be out in the state. So I think we pretty well keep them in business. They're the only reason why they're still actually making it.
What a combo. So you have beer, crankskis, and donuts.
Yep.
Oh.
And you wonder why we're not the fittest blokes in the world. Right, give us another one.
Rightio. Out of all the sporting events, which one do you do? Which one would you want to do?
Yep.
The running of the bulls, cheese rolling, where they roll down the big hill, or wife carrying?
Oh, jeez. I'm going running of the bulls for me. I reckon that'd be awesome. And I just take off before everyone else, not get caught in that stampede. I've seen the cheese rolling go, to excuse the pun, really downhill quickly. That's dangerous. That is dead set dangerous, that cheese rolling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I couldn't do that. I'd be flipping backwards and forwards and it would be a nightmare. But yeah, I'm with you. Running with the Bulls, I'd love to do that. I said it the other day and people go, "You're mad." I said, "How good would it be?" Yeah, you've got to run fast or you're going to cop a horn straight up the backside. But outside, you just got to run faster than the bloke behind you.
Exactly.
That's the idea.
Bit like prison. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Best sporting moment you've either attended or watched on TV?
The one that really got me.
What?
I remember sitting here and there's so many. You think about Kathy Freeman and think about all those special moments. And I just loved watching Richmond in 2015 against GWS at the MCG, 99,000 people, 98,960 Tigers supporters. And just towards the end, when they knew they were making the grand final, and they just started chanting yellow and black.
Yeah, that was great.
I could feel the MCG and the yellow and black here on the Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm.
It was just remarkable. I just thought, how good is this sport when just the feeling and the passion I found that day. And I wasn't even there. I was watching it on television, but I had it full ball. I had the television as loud as I could, and I'm not even a Tigers fan. I just felt that was a great sporting moment.
Yeah, it was. I've got a couple. I've got one that's just a little bit personal, and so I was at the MCG. First time I've ever been to the MCG. It was Richmond versus Fremantle.
Yeah.
And Fremantle in front by 3 or 4 goals all day, and we were actually sitting right next to the Richmond cheer squad. So I was getting just abused all day because I was the only one there wearing a Fremantle Guernsey and called a purple so-and-so all day. And then Freo were about 3 goals up, and then Richmond stormed home, kicked a goal with a minute to go. Richmond take the lead, and you should have heard the absolute abuse coming my way. Got called Tinker Winky like the purple Teletubby, and anyway, then.
But hang on. But when Fremantle were winning, were you up and about?
No, I wasn't. I wouldn't have made it out there. You should have seen these guys. There was no chance I could say anything. But so about 15 seconds to go, Lachie Neale storms out. He's obviously still playing for Fremantle at that stage. Drives it inside 50. David Mundy hits him on the chest. 45 metres out, the siren goes.
Oh,
you could have heard a pin drop in this Richmond cheer squad. Goes back, slots it, goes through. I go to stand up, take one look at him, and think, no, I might just sit down and just give this one a little clap. Otherwise, I'm not making it out the MCG here.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
And then my other one has to go to Ash Barty, winning that Australian Open. She had the weight of Australia on her shoulders. And then Yvonne Goolagong-Cooley, her idol growing up, coming out to present her with the cup.
Yeah.
It was such an emotional scene for her. You could see how much she'd been dealing with and internalizing it all. She was just the best, not only sports person, but the best person. There wasn't a person in Australia who hated her and really united Australia. So that's my other one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, that's what we love about sport. You think about, Harry Keel's goal and all those moments in different sports that, really unite a country. And, Ash Barty, absolutely. It was fantastic. No different to, Kathy Freeman at the Olympics and Bruce McAvaney calling it, which is even better.
Oh, exactly. We miss Bruce. That's why we're looking forward to the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games. Hopefully they sort it out. That's why I still listen to horse racing, just so we can listen to Bruce.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all we got time for this week, guys. Tune in next week. And before we go, Spida's coming. You're coming over to Lock, mate.
Absolutely, yeah. A couple of weeks away. So looking forward to it. We've got beer, crankskis and donuts to load up on. So going to have a training session tonight out there at Lock, and then I'm going to have a look around the peninsula around there before I head into Adelaide and do a couple of talks on the weekend.
That should be great, mate. Looking forward to catching you then. We'll talk to you this time next week.
Cheers.
This has been the Third Man Up podcast. To hear more, make sure you follow and subscribe or find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Australia Sports.